We're working the latest developments now in the penalty phase of the Boston Marathon bombings trial. Today, the defense put the focus on Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's family as they try to convince the jury to spare the convicted marathon bomber's life. Eyewitness News reporter Jared Pliner is live outside federal court in Boston with new details on today's testimony.
Shannon, good evening. The government working to keep a good amount of subject matter out, arguing it is speculative or simply irrelevant. The question with no answer at the moment, how is it all playing with jurors?
As the final phase of trial presses on, so does the defense's contrasting of Dzhokhar and Tamerlan Tsarnaev. The narrative, Dzhokhar, kind, good-natured, at least before he murdered 4 people. Tamerlan, violent, jihad-obsessed, with a dark core. More than 3 dozen defense witnesses have now testified. Among those under oath Tuesday, Providence's Amanda Ransom. She was Catherine Russell's roommate when the two were at Suffolk. Ransom described hearing yelling and banging during a fight between Tamerlan and Catherine. Ransom told jurors she and another roommate fled the apartment in the middle of the night after Tamerlan spouted off threats. But in line with how the government likes to begin and end cross-examination, prosecutor Nadine Pellegrini asked if Ransom had ever met the actual defendant in this matter, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, or whether she had any information to give the jury about him. No on both counts. When it came to advancing their continuing narrative of Tsarnaev family instability, defense attorneys turned to Father Anzor's medical records, hearing from a psychiatrist who treated the patriarch in the early 2000s that Anzor is an ill man who suffers from PTSD and, in the past, paranoid delusions.
And coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, the defense calls an expert on the Chechen culture, what he had to say, and how he tangled with prosecutors. Live in Boston tonight with the Mobile Newsroom, I'm Jared Pliner, Eyewitness News.
Now we turn to the Boston Marathon bombings trial. The defense continued to call more witnesses to the stand. No relatives returned to testify today, but an historian, psychiatrist, and roommate of Tamerlan's wife did. New at 6, what the defense had to say about the Chechen culture and how it played a role in the vicious crime Tsarnaev has been convicted of. Eyewitness News reporter Jared Pliner joins us now live outside Boston Federal Court.
Mike, good evening. Everyone in court today, jurors, reporters, went back to history class, essentially, to learn about a Republic of Russia. The question you have to ask yourself, how are viewers taking in this evidence?
As Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's defense approaches the end of its penalty phase case, attention turned to Chechnya Tuesday, the home of Tsarnaev's ancestors. The defense's expert in this regard, a Princeton professor with vast knowledge of the region and its customs. Michael Reynolds told jurors of the male-dominated Chechen family structure and the significant power of the eldest male child over the family and younger siblings, Cue Tamerlan and Dzhokhar, and the defense's contention of who masterminded the bombings. One brother because of culture following another. But the government hit back in a substantial cross-examination, noting the brothers and their parents weren't born in Chechnya, and the boys weren't raised there. The patriarch married a non-Chechen. Tamerlan ended up marrying a Christian. Prosecutor Bill Weinreb then asked Reynolds if Dzhokhar's smoking and drinking behind his brother's back violated Chechen morality. Reynolds admitted it appeared to. Weinreb even asked this in front of the jury box: is a Chechen terrorist less morally culpable than other terrorists for their crimes? Reynolds responded, no.
And testimony continues in the morning. We are still expecting to hear from some point from an expert on adolescent brain development. The defense said on day 1 of its penalty phase case, it intended to go there. Live in Boston with the Mobile Newsroom tonight, I'm Jared Pliner, Eyewitness News.